So if you're watching this, you probably don't feel like you're where you should be. You may be in your 30s, 40s even. Very well maybe a man, and you've believed that yeah you should be a lot further on, financially, entrepreneurially, than the talent and the glimpse of your potential has shown you. I felt like kind of cool to make this video and to have a real conversation. I think I'm sitting on the therapist couch, as it were. So this is going to be therapy for myself first and foremost, and of course I hope you get signed for this because those who don't know me, my name is Dubem Menakaya, also known as Chidubem, and I'm 36 years old, and I have this continual sense that I have not fulfilled my potential. Um, I've done many great things in life, and I've moved into this coaching, facilitation world. Went self-employed fully about 4 years ago, and in many ways, I'm living far beyond what I thought was possible. 10 years ago. Well, let me correct that. Like I knew I had potential, but the mental health life challenges that I went through, in my 20s, in regards to addiction and other mental health and other situations and just life in general meant that, I kind of spent a lot of time trying to digging myself out of holes and putting myself back in them and, to be, well, as it were, relatively, and have this foundation and actually be in a position to serve people, many times 7, 8 years ago, where I was kind of didn't even want to wake up, going to bed and kind of hoping. A lot of times I didn't want to wake up, where I was just like disappearing, didn't want to get back to people, where I was just smoking weed and hiding and running away. Like this would be far beyond my wildest dreams. And at the same time, I always had a sense, and I think this is why I'm speaking. I wanted to speak to people who maybe relate to this. Like I always had a sense that I had something in me, that I had ability, that I could make an impact in the world. Like I always had deeper visions and purposes, a deeper vision of possibility and grandiose, you could say, that was like far beyond my current circumstances. I worked in a phone shop for 4 years, and I was in that phone shop and just thinking, yeah, but I'm gonna be a New York Times best-selling author, and traveling around the world. And I think as I've gone through the years, I think I've built up a lot of. I heard it in sports, like built up a lot of scar tissue. When I was younger, when I was in my early 20s, I was kind of like a trendsetter, like for a lot of things. Like I saw a lot of things before they happened, as in like I was doing long form podcasts in like 2013, long form interviews and all this type of stuff. And um, I think, having the foundation, the floor kind of go from under my feet several times. A lot of shame was like built up, a lot of shame built up in terms of like where I am versus where I believe that I should have been, where people who I was around, have had, some have become millionaires, some are, living dream lives, some are people you may be, even familiar with in entrepreneurial circles. Um, so as well as like just genuinely like just dealing with my own, addiction and mental health challenges and spiritual warfare, whatever you want to call it, like the kind of ups and downs and just trying to survive in life. Like I was always kind of carrying that and looking back at a lot of times with a lot of regret and frustration, and actually not even wanting to look back. Like I believe a lot of some of my addiction stuff was because I just could not be at peace with the degree to which I had not lived into what I had glimpsed, was possible. And the years go by, man. Like, the years really, really go by. And I think being now like 36, this is what the other side of 30, and don't get me wrong, in terms of life, I'm a relatively young man, and but it's just when you're carrying something, when you've been carrying something for years and years and years, it feels like, okay, well, you know, there's many things that may not happen. There's no guarantees, out here in this game. Like nothing is guaranteed. Yet at the same time, what's all this continual, self-sabotage about? And right now I really want to speak to people who are maybe in a career, or they've started, they've got their business, and hey, maybe doing well financially, but like they've just feeling on this constant hamster wheel, or it may just be very inconsistent in sales and not even allowing you to go, full time with it. Like I know a lot of stuff I speak with and work on is I like to work like under the surface, because the game is a facade. Do you know what I mean? There's way more that goes on under the surface with people than is seen, than is seen on the storefront, as it were, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. Like that's just the truth of the situation. But ultimately, what goes on under the surface, the beliefs that we actually believe, does come to pass. And I've been having a lot of conversations about commitment, like what I say I'm committed to, and then what I'm actually committed to, and in regards to money, and to finances, I have a real struggle mentality. Like I realize in some ways, like I've been addicted to struggle, like, and I think, yes, and I can subconsciously go into it. This is not for me to meditate for myself. It was more just an indicator for you, if this is useful, to kind of look at your own subconscious beliefs and seeing, okay, well, maybe I'm not where I think I'm supposed to be, but actually I am exactly where I should be, based upon the thinking that I've had, and a lot of the unconscious thinking I have that I haven't even realized it. Like I self-sabotage. I have self-sabotage in a way in which I call it, snatching snatching defeat, from the jaws of victory. Like I can be there, I can be in the rooms and be around the people, but I will not even want to ask. I will not even want to put my name out there. I won't even want to put my voice out there. When it comes to then speaking about money, like resistance hits me like in such a way that is very, very strong, like that the words even struggle to come out my mouth. Like I can sign a client and I have an invoice and I won't even want to send the invoice. Like I'll do everything to not send, the invoice. Now I've got much more heightened awareness about this, but that aspect of like, well, my dream, my vision, my belief is that I'm a multi-millionaire leadership catalyst, coach, and facilitator. Like I believe that I'm the best in the world. I hold that like as a knowing, not in a comparative sense, but in a belief in myself and the art form of what God is speaking through me and what I've seen and the impact that I've had in other people's lives. So if that's the case, if I'm so talented and I'm this and I'm that, well, what's the misalignment between that and the results that I'm creating, right? Financial results. I've not made over six figures. Okay, so I haven't cleared 50,000 in a year even. So this is clearly a misalignment. Well, one is there is an aspect of integrity, which I've done an interview about that and spoke about that on this site before, in terms of my relationship with my word, and I think that's a fundamental principle to continue to cultivate. But I think beyond that is like, I mean, if you don't actually really believe it, or if there's a real belief underlying, a real deeper commitment, then that's what's actually going to be created. And I've kind of just been looking at, what is the underlying commitment like? And I've had a commitment to being broke. And I think one reason why is because I've just been used to struggle. I've been used to kind of just, not living in devastation, and kind of just having my head above that has been a blessing in so many ways. And I think where I come from and my environment, like my family, was constantly struggling like with money, as it were, and to pay bills, like constantly firefighting like all the time. And I think I've adopted innocently a lot of those beliefs. Like it's not my family's fault, but it's just to go deeper into like, hey, this is what I say I'm committed to, but what's the actual competing commitment? And the subconscious is so powerful, you know, that when there's no awareness given to it, like it's just going crazy, you know. And even still, there's way more than than I realized. But like, I think having that like kind of honest like conversation with oneself, and I guess I've chose to put this out there in a way that maybe people can relate to it. Maybe it's questions that you can ask for yourself. Like, hey, this is what I say I'm committed to, but what am I actually committed to? Like honestly, and kind of have a look into what are my thoughts, my actions, my words. Like, how does it actually manifest in life? How does that underlying competing commitment, manifest itself in the world? And I think, to be honest, which ironically, I think this thing I actually should have led with, and I wanted to lead with, for those who feel like, maybe you're behind the times or you should have done better, is that, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Like, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. I know say the words, and you believe it, but no, it's true. It's true. Like, grace is like it's such like a underlying value. Do you know what I mean? I really like try and hold dear, like that I hold dear, like that that I'm loved unconditionally. I am unconditional love, and everything is going exactly the way that it's supposed to go, because it could not go any other way. Like, to be non-resistant to just life as it is. You know what I mean? Like, and a kind of a laugh as well. It's one of my favorite quotes. It says, everyone does the best they can given the thinking they have that looks real to them. It's by a philosopher named Sydney Banks. And I did the best I could. I do the best I can, and I'm doing the best I can now, as you are. Given the thinking I have that look real to me, and it's to have that grace. That grace for oneself, and to also know that it's a fresh day, man. Every moment, it's a fresh start. We live in the now. Like, behold, now is the accepted time. Now is the accepted time, and that the possibility every now, for movement, for transformation, for the game to change is a beautiful thing. And finally, this, everyone loves a comeback story. Do you know what I mean? Like, everyone loves a comeback story. It makes everything more colorful. It makes everything more richer. Everything that you've been through just adds to the richness of your tapestry. You know what I mean? And it's more fuel. It's more relatedness where you can really like assist people with. And I feel like, because I've been through this stuff so much, that I know it's why I can help people, because I can really see them. And it's that shame pit is very, very deep, and you can be living and working, but I know that it holds people back, and it stops them for years, man. I know, not just my clients, just people in the world, and of course myself. It stopped me even from taking the action for years, for thinking like, what's the point? One, what's the point? Because I'm gonna start it and I'm just gonna stop something again. So what's the point? Do you know what I mean? And then two, it's like, I don't even want to have the hope. I kind of want to just hold on in the darkness, because in the darkness I have the glimpse of hope. It's cool, but if I actually go out there into the world again and get them scars, I'll be like, what's the point? But the world is waiting for you. The world is just waiting for you. The door is like, always open. The door is always open, and we step through, we don't step through. It's no worries. It's no worries. The grace is always there. It's all love, and it doesn't matter how long you take to get here. We're just glad that you're here. Do you know what I'm saying? We're just glad that you're here, and it's never too late to start anew, to start afresh, to start again. Everything is possible. It all happens in a moment, and who knows where it will go. Who knows where it will go? But ultimately, though, yeah, I guess I'm just going on a bit, because I said this was like therapy for myself too. But ultimately, though, we are here. There's much to be grateful for. There's much to be blessed with, and the streets are waiting. The streets are waiting and celebrating. Like was it Welcome Back, Carter? Who'd have thought they need ya? Right here is where we need ya. All the teas in the pot, 'cause we got him on the spot. Welcome back. Welcome back to you. Your spirit, your soul is always there, man. Your potential is always there to be catalyzed. So, big salute. Take care.